One thing that the fans really seem to be very much invested in when it comes to the Star Wars franchise is the mythology of the overall brand. We're talking about the Jedi, the Sith, the dark side, and the light, as well as the cosmic force, the Wills, who are godlike beings. All that type of stuff is what the fans really love to actually read up on and really watch when it comes to the franchise. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing that we do know about Disney CEO Bob Iger is that he has been hiring a lot of new creatives to become a part of Lucasfilm as a company, as well as Favreau and Filoni helping out with that by hiring new creators to take part in upcoming projects. We already know that John and Dave are creating new teams for, of course, all of these new Star Wars shows on the horizon, which, by the way, which will be announced at Celebration next year. Keep your eyes open for that. But what's even all the more exciting has to do with this new format that Disney is focusing on, is that they eventually want to focus on movies again instead of primarily Star Wars TV shows. That's basically Bob Iger's big game plan right now, to create a new legacy of his own, and he's only planning to stay with Disney for 2 whole years. That's the current plan right now, happening behind the scenes with the board, and he wants to create a plan that will be grandfathered in to the Disney, as you know, to the Disney company and how Star Wars will be handled. Now, with that being said and all, what's even all the more exciting has to do with one particular Star Wars movie that's going to kickstart a series of films, a new trilogy, so to speak, that's going to be based within the Old Republic era. Now, with that being said, with both Favreau and Filoni now working on new Star Wars movies, specifically the Old Republic trilogy as co-writers, that's in the very early stages, Disney higher-ups have already chosen a handful of full actors to portray certain roles that are already affiliated with Disney. As John and Dave have been making and writing down many notes about the direction of these Old Republic movies, some of those notes have been finalized to be used in scripts for the future. The biggest decision by Disney right now that was finalized by John and Dave was to hire actress Elizabeth Olsen to become a part of this new Star Wars movie that will be the start of a new trilogy. As of now, Elizabeth Olsen is set to portray a character that goes by the name of Empress Valen. So for those of you that don't know much about Empress Valen, she's a big focus in Knights of the Old Republic. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but we'll tap into that in just a second. This character, by the way, was tormented, tortured, and just mentally drained as a child by the Zakul, and what they were trying to do with that character to really kind of make her a ruthless villain in a sense. And that's how she becomes one of the most ruthless Sith Lords in the Knights of the Old Republic era. Now, Valen is in ways even more ruthless than Palpatine in certain scenarios, and if you guys read up on everything related to the Old Republic, there's a lot of examples in there, but it's too long to really explain in one video here. But focusing on what they have planned for Elizabeth Olsen, I can see why they are casting her as Valen. If you look at her and her portrayal of Wanda, alright, not just in WandaVision, but in, of course, you know, Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness, they want to recapture that type of villainous role in Star Wars. Something or somebody that is going to be absolutely ruthless, that has only like a one-track mind when it comes to the ways of the Sith. Now, with that being said too, alright, when we look at something related to what they are planning with the OR trilogy, we talked about this just yesterday, how Marion Cotillard is actually being aimed to portray Darth Zana. Alright, so there's going to be a handful of Darths that will be portrayed in this Old Republic trilogy, especially in the first film that's now being worked on in the early stages already as we speak. So that brings us to the next big thing here, alright? So, a very powerful Sith, of course she was, that was showcased in Knights of the Old Republic, that will be portrayed by yet another Disney-affiliated actress. Now, Olsen has already had several conversations with Favreau about all of this, and is 100% down for the role of the character. Vaylin and her appearances are said to be in many of Favreau's notes for the first film of the first OR trilogy that will bounce back and forth throughout time to show fans the stories of different characters and the choices they make and how that impacts the other characters down the road. Now again, let me just pause here. We've seen many movies like this, mostly dramas. Mostly drama films, I'm not talking about Star Wars by the way. Mostly drama movies just in Hollywood as a whole, where it focuses on, let's say, for example, a group of 3 characters. The choices that they make impacts the choices that other groups of characters make. That's basically how the OR trilogy is going to work, movie by movie. And I think it's a very interesting format because it kind of creates some kind of tension. It kind of creates a lot of curiosity. You're going to always be thinking to yourself, alright, this character's doing this. How is this certain decision going to impact this character's decision years later? And I like that. I think it's a very good format that Disney is going for, that John and Dave are endorsing right now, and it just kind of fits in with the Old Republic theming, because they want to bounce back and forth throughout time to cover all different points in time of this actual dark era of Star Wars, right? So the next thing, of course, is that it's a new format that Disney is chasing right now to make these Star Wars films feel different than all other Star Wars movies yet. Now, additionally, Vaylin's story is described to hold a deep connection to Darth Vitiate, who is planned to be portrayed by Keanu Reeves for the upcoming Star Wars movies. So far, Favreau and Filoni have made over 300 notes for the Old Republic trilogy, many of which are being finalized to be used in future scripts that are currently on hold. So a lot of these notes that have been finalized have been placed on hold and are actually being finalized to be used in future scripts, alright? There's a lot of things happening here with the OR trilogy, and this is something that fans have been asking for, believe it or not, for a very, very long time. It's finally happening. It's actually in the works. It's moving along. We're going to be getting the official announcement by D23 of next year. So we're quite a ways out from that, but it will happen next year. Keep your eyes open for that as well. Now, the thing about Elizabeth Olsen, alright? I know that she got some criticism with Multiverse of Madness, and how a lot of fans are criticizing that film, right? Of how it focused too much on her instead of Doctor Strange himself. That's what people are saying. But I think that she's a great actress and all. I think that when you look at how she portrays Wanda in, you know, the ways of Scarlet Witch, I think it's going to be a great move by Disney to make her as Vaylin. She actually looks like Vaylin. If you guys look up Empress Vaylin, makes a lot of sense as to why they would cast her. Favreau and Filoni know exactly what they're talking about. So overall, guys, you know, I think that there's a lot at hand here. There's a lot of choices that Disney is making very carefully and strategically, and they have to make sure that they can create a constant flow of successful Star Wars projects to convince fans that Star Wars is coming back in action. So anyways, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I'm not the one from night.